They didn't want a quick score. They wanted the whole damn city. The empire builders don't just survive the streets. They own them. These are the ones who rise from the gutter, take over the block, and don't stop until their name's echoed through every alley and penthouse. They build businesses, bend governments, and burn anyone in their way. Tommy, CJ, Michael, Franklin, and yeah, even your GTA Online character. Let's meet the Kings of Concrete. 15 years. That's how long Tommy Vercetti sat in a prison cell for doing the Forelli family's dirty work. No snitching, no shortcuts, just time. So what's his reward? They send him to Vice City, not for a promotion, but to get him out of the way. One drug deal, in and out. Except the deal blows up. The money's gone, the drugs are gone, and Tommy, he's alive, pissed, and plotting. Most men would run. Tommy builds an empire. He plays the game smarter, works with smugglers, bikers, real estate sharks, anyone who gets him closer to the top. By the time he's done, Tommy Vercetti is Vice City. Not just the clubs and the cash. He runs the whole damn vibe. He started as a pawn. He ended up the king. Scarface with better hair. CJ didn't come home for power. He came home for a funeral. His mom was murdered. His gang was falling apart. Grove Street was a ghost town. So he picked up a bike and started rebuilding everything. At first, it's about family, loyalty, getting respect back. But CJ doesn't stop there. He starts flipping neighborhoods, buying up fronts, taking over the city one corner at a time. Then it gets wild. Casinos in Las Venturas, government deals, a stolen jetpack from a top-secret base. By the end, he's not just repping Grove Street. He owns the state. CJ came home a soldier. He left as a legend. Michael had it all. The mansion, the money, the witness protection deal. But deep down, he missed the game, missed the action. So when Franklin walks through his door, hungry and sharp, Michael sees something familiar. He trains him, teams up with him, and together they start pulling off heists again. Big ones. Except this time, the FIB is watching. So is Trevor, an old partner who thought Michael was dead. And suddenly, the dream life becomes a full-blown nightmare. Michael's empire is built on lies and glass. And sooner or later, glass breaks. Franklin starts with nothing. A repo job, a dream, and a front row seat to other people's success. But then he meets Michael, learns the ropes, and realizes crime, done right, is a career. Franklin rises fast, steals cars, runs heists, buys businesses, and proves he's more than just a kid from South Los Santos. But success brings new enemies, new problems, and choices that can't be undone. He wanted out of the hood. Now he's got a view from the top, but it cost him everything else. They never speak, never blink, just grind. The GTA Online protagonist starts as a nobody, with a stolen car and a dirty jacket. Now, they own drug labs, bunkers, casinos, arcades, submarines, missile-launching hover bikes, and a fleet of cars worth more than most countries. No backstory, no dialogue, just business. They didn't just build an empire. They built 10. Some came for revenge. Some just wanted peace. But the streets don't care what you want, only what you're willing to do to stay alive. The survivors didn't chase the crown. They weren't in it for power or glory. They were thrown into the fire and left to claw their way out. Victor Vance, Luis Lopez, Mike, Juan Lee, Lucia, and Jason. Each one backed into a corner, each one choosing to fight. Let's meet the ones who made it out alive, or at least tried to. Victor Vance just wanted to do the right thing. A soldier in the army, looking to support his sick brother and stay out of trouble. But when his corrupt sergeant stashes drugs under his bed, Victor gets thrown out. Dishonorable discharge, no job, no future. He turns to the streets, taking odd jobs just to survive. But in Vice City, there's no such thing as a small favor. One deal turns into 10. One lie leads to a war. Victor tries to stay honest, but the deeper he goes, the harder it is to climb back out. He wasn't built for this life, but he lived it anyway. Luis lives in Liberty City's nightlife, bodyguard by trade, club scene by default, caught between champagne and gunfire. He works for Gay Toni, the king of clubs and the king of debts. Every bottle service gig turns into a gunfight, a helicopter chase, or a diamond deal gone sideways. Luis isn't in it for the thrill. He's in it to keep his mother safe, his friends alive, and the money flowing, just enough to keep the whole thing from collapsing. Luis doesn't run the city. He holds it up with one hand on the bottle and the other on the trigger. Mike didn't want to be a boss. He just wanted to survive. His partner Vinny gets blown up. The cops think Mike did it. The gangs want his head. Now he's running through Liberty City, looking for answers, dodging bullets, and burning every bridge he crosses. It's not about empire. It's not about power. It's about making it to the next day. And maybe, just maybe, finding the truth behind the betrayal. Huang Li's father was murdered. His inheritance, a ceremonial sword, and a one-way ticket into a triad power struggle. He's ambushed at the airport, left for dead, and still shows up to the next meeting in a fresh suit. Huang isn't loud, he isn't flashy, but he's ruthless, intelligent, and always 2 steps ahead. He digs through corruption, betrayal, and back-alley deals in Liberty City's underworld, without ever losing his edge. Huang didn't just survive, he outplayed everyone. We don't know their full story yet, but from what we've seen, Lucia and Jason don't play games. They rob, run, and ride or die. Lucia's done time, Jason's street smart. Together they're not chasing fame, they're chasing survival. Whether they're lovers, partners, or just 2 people trying not to die, one thing's clear. This isn't about respect. It's about staying alive in a world that wants you buried. They don't talk. They don't explain. They just act. The silent killers move through the world like shadows. No speeches, no warnings, just a body count in their wake. You'll never hear their voices, but you'll feel their presence. They let their actions do the storytelling, and their stories always end in blood. He had a crew. He had a girl. And she shot him in the gut and left him for dead. That was her last mistake. Claude escapes prison during a transfer, and from there it's nothing but payback. He works for every gang that'll pay him, from the mafia to the yakuza to crooked politicians. No questions, no hesitation. Just drive, kill, repeat. He never says a word, not to his enemies, not to his allies, not even to the woman who betrayed him, because Claude doesn't need words. He speaks fluent violence. They were the originals. No voice, no cutscenes, no names you'd remember. Just you, a car, and a city full of chaos. They didn't talk their way to the top. They stole, shot, and exploded their way there. Payphones gave missions, the cops gave chase, and the world gave you one message: do crime or die trying. They were blank slates, but they laid the foundation for everything that came after. The nameless faces that started it all. Yeah, we've mentioned them before, but they don't just belong to one group. They're a silent killer, too. No voice, no backstory, just an unholy amount of power, money, and arsenal. They'll run a nightclub in the morning, blow up a CEO's convoy in the afternoon, and spend the evening launching a satellite-mounted death laser. No speeches, no drama, just dominance. They're not here for empires. They're not trying to survive. They just want freedom, even if it means burning the world to get it. The psychos and wildcards don't follow logic. They follow instinct, rage, or pure adrenaline. They're the nuclear option, the final boss of every room they walk into. Trevor Philips, Claude Speed. 2 different timelines, same explosive energy. Let's meet the men who can't be controlled. Trevor doesn't fake it. He doesn't sugarcoat. He's not here to be liked. He's here to destroy. Years ago, he robbed banks with Michael, until Michael faked his death and disappeared. Now Trevor's running his own chaos empire in the desert. Drugs, guns, torture, meth labs, biker wars. When he finds out Michael's alive, he drives straight to Los Santos, and the body count starts climbing. Trevor doesn't care about money, or power, or plans. He's in it for the feeling, the blood, the boom, the freedom. He's dangerous, he's brilliant, he's unstoppable. He's GTA's wildest card. Different Claude, same chaos. In Anywhere City, everything's a mess. Gangs, cults, corporations, cars that talk to you. And in the middle of it is Claude Speed. Fast talking, fast driving, fast dying. He works for everyone. Yakuza, scientists, religious freaks. Switches sides like it's nothing. Kills without blinking. steals without thinking. He even gets shot in the head in a live-action intro. But in the game, he just keeps going, like death didn't get the memo. He's not a mastermind. He's not a soldier. He's a maniac on a mission, and the mission is more. They didn't want fame. They weren't chasing fortune. They just wanted to do right by someone, a family, a crew, a cause. And in return, they got betrayed, broken, or buried. The loyal soldiers live by a code, even when the people they serve don't. Toni Cipriani, Johnny Klebitz, Nico Bellic. They weren't born leaders, but they fought like it was all they had left. Let's meet the ones who gave everything, and still weren't given enough. Toni did the job. He killed for the Leone family. Then he vanished for a few years to let the heat die down. When he comes back, he expects respect, a promotion, maybe a taste of the throne. Instead, he gets disrespected, undermined, and sent on garbage work by people who forgot his name. Even his own mother mocks him. But Toni doesn't whine. He goes to war. Rival gangs, crooked politicians, mob betrayals, nothing slows him down. He fights for his spot, earns every inch, because Toni isn't trying to be a king. He's just trying to be loyal in a world that kills loyalty first. Johnny is the vice president of the Lost MC, and for a minute, he's the only one trying to keep the gang from tearing itself apart. His crew's wild, his president's unstable, and every decision feels like choosing the lesser evil. Johnny negotiates peace deals, avoids wars, and tries to build something smarter. But the others, they want drugs, violence, the old ways. Johnny gets crushed between what's right for the club and what the club wants. His story isn't about rising. It's about holding on while everything falls apart. Niko didn't come to Liberty City for power. He came for peace, a second chance, a new life with his cousin Roman, who promised him freedom and luxury. What he found? Debt, danger, lies. Niko's past is full of war, betrayal, and ghosts. But Liberty City won't let him escape it. So he picks up a gun again. He worked for mobsters, politicians, arms dealers, each one dragging him further into the mess. He wants peace, but peace doesn't pay. And in Liberty City, nothing is free. Niko doesn't fight for glory. He fights to stop losing. From nameless crooks to empire kings, from quiet killers to broken soldiers, every GTA protagonist is a product of their world, and every world in GTA is built to break them. Some rise, some fall, some just refuse to die. But whether they're robbing banks, burying friends, or just trying to make rent, they all have one thing in common. They never walk away clean. He took a bullet, then took back a city, and through it all, he never said a single word. Not to Catalina, not to Salvatore, not even to Maria. At the end of GTA 3, Claude rescues Maria and walks into the distance. Then the screen fades to black. A single gunshot, and silence. Did he kill her? Rockstar won't say. On the game's 10th anniversary, when asked what happened after the credits, they replied, "We're not sure. Some think he did, some think he didn't." But they did confirm one thing. Claude is still alive. No funeral, no body. Just a vanishing act from one of Liberty City's deadliest ghosts. We last saw him in San Andreas, racing CJ for pink slips, and losing. He left San Andreas in Catalina's passenger seat, and by the time they got to Liberty City, she had a gun in his back. That betrayal became his origin story. The garage? Gone. The woman? Turned on him. His voice? Buried with whatever life he had before. In GTA Online, you can select Claude as your character's parent. In GTA 4, Niko can wear Claude's old jacket. But none of that's canon. Those are just ghosts in the code. Rockstar has never confirmed what the gunshot means, or if Claude killed Maria. The ending is legendary for its ambiguity. But to some fans, Claude didn't just survive. He erased himself. No headlines, no legacy, just whispers and unfinished business. Some say he still roams Liberty City, silent, invisible, unkillable. But in a world that rewards violence and punishes vulnerability, Claude didn't evolve. He vanished. And in GTA, that's the darkest ending of all. He survived a massacre, took over a city, and built an empire out of blood and betrayal. But when the dust settled, Tommy Vercetti disappeared. At the end of GTA Vice City, Tommy stands alone at the top. The drug lords, dead. The mob, burned. Lance, betrayed and buried. He won, but the story didn't end there. In GTA San Andreas, Ken Rosenberg, Tommy's former lawyer and closest ally, has hit rock bottom. He leaves rehab in Fort Carson and makes a desperate phone call.
Ken Rosenberg! Rosenberg! Oh, really? You told him I called? Look, I made that ingrate, and now he won't take my calls? Just put him on the phone right now!
Tommy doesn't answer. He doesn't speak. He doesn't show up. Not in San Andreas, not in Liberty City, not anywhere. And it led fans to wonder, did Rockstar just erase him? Behind the scenes, Ray Liotta, Tommy's voice actor, reportedly clashed with Rockstar after Vice City's success. He didn't expect the game to blow up, and once it did, he wanted more money. According to multiple developers, the working relationship soured quickly. According to dev rumors, Dan Houser once reportedly said, "Well, how about if we just kill off your character? There is no next time." Officially, Rockstar never killed Tommy, but they never brought him back either. Rumors say he was originally meant to appear in San Andreas. Those plans disappeared, just like the character. What we're left with are fragments. In the mission The Meat Business, Rosenberg slips and calls CJ Tommy.
So exciting, Tommy. It's like old times. Who the fuck is Tommy?
And in Rockstar's official KentPaul.com promo site, now long archived, Kent drops this cryptic note. "See, Tommy, I didn't mention your name. Nowhere. Maybe you won't get us killed now." The implication? Tommy's still alive, and still dangerous. But no sightings, no cameos, no confirmation. The most ruthless protagonist in GTA history became a ghost. He didn't die in a blaze of glory. He was simply written out. And in GTA, power doesn't make you immortal, just forgettable. He didn't just survive the hood, he outgrew it. But in GTA, leaving the streets behind doesn't mean the streets forget you. When San Andreas ends, CJ stands tall. The Grove is back. Big Smoke and Tenpenny are gone. And CJ, he's no longer just another gangster. He's a business owner, a casino partner, a music manager. He won the game without becoming the villain. But after the credits roll, CJ vanishes. There's no official word from Rockstar on what happens next. No funeral, no cameo, no return. Part of that is because San Andreas belongs to the 3D universe, alongside GTA 3 and Vice City. Meanwhile, GTA 4, GTA 5, and GTA Online are set in a separate HD universe. Two different continuities, which explains why CJ never returns as a playable character, or even gets mentioned directly. Still, players have found quiet echoes of his legacy. In GTA 5, Grove Street is no longer his. It belongs to the Ballas now. And in a side conversation, Franklin and Lamar wonder what happened to the old Grove Street set.
Hey, you know Grove Street used to be family hood.
Grove Street family? Man, long time ago.
Man, what happened to them dudes?
Shit, I don't know. Could be dead. Shit, or could be CEOs by now.
Or probably living in some suburb somewhere driving SUVs and shit, you know, soccer moms and shit, coaching Little League football team.
Yeah, the suburban flight, huh? Probably so.
That's gonna be me and you one day, dawg.
While it's not a direct line about CJ, it's widely interpreted as a tribute to his disappearance, and to Grove Street's decline. CJ never wanted to die in the hood. In San Andreas, when Sweet pushes to reclaim Grove Street, CJ hesitates. CJ saw the truth. He can't build a future in a place that's stuck in the past. By the final cutscene, Mad Dog is prepping for a world tour, and CJ is still his manager. The implication? CJ left the gang life behind, and never looked back. Some fans point to a GTA 4 billboard that seems to show CJ in high-end fashion. Others spot CJ's toothpaste in GTA 5 bathrooms. But these are purely Easter eggs, little moments for fan enjoyment, not canon. The real truth is simpler. CJ got out, and he stayed out. No shootouts, no betrayals, no dramatic end. just silence. He won by walking away before the game could bury him. And in GTA, that might be the rarest ending of all. He tried to stay clean. He tried to do the right thing. But in GTA, doing the right thing just gets you killed faster. Vic Vance didn't want to be a criminal. He wanted to provide for his family, serve his country, stay out of trouble. But one shady job, just to pay for his brother's meds, was enough to get him kicked out of the military and thrown into the underworld. In Vice City stories, Vic builds an empire from scratch, smuggling, fighting cartels, and constantly cleaning up Lance's chaos. He's smart, disciplined, a reluctant kingpin. And just when it seems like he might finally make it out, he dies in someone else's intro. GTA Vice City opens with a drug deal at the docks. The camera pans across two brothers, Lance and Vic Vance. Before a word is spoken, the deal goes bad. Gunfire erupts. Vic is gunned down off-screen, before the player takes control. No last words, no dramatic betrayal. Just a life cut short. Rockstar confirmed through official sources who that man was. Victor Vance. It's canon. It's cold. And it turns Vice City Stories, a game about building something, into a tragic prequel about a man doomed to lose it all. Some fans say Vic's death feels too quick, too meaningless. But that's the point. Lance Vance's recklessness dragged Vic into every bad deal, every violent encounter. And in the end, it got him killed. In GTA, tragedy isn't always cinematic. Sometimes, it's just business. CJ got out. Vic tried, but it was too late. The story ended before he could. He killed for the Leone family, bled for them, built their empire. But in the end, Toni never became boss. He was promised respect, but only got scraps. When we meet Toni in GTA 3, he's a trusted capo, loud, loyal, and lethal, but still running errands, still answering to Salvatore Leone. Liberty City Stories reveals the years before. Toni was Salvatore's hammer, loyal, ruthless, trusted enough for high-level hits. But after whacking a rival boss on Sal's orders, the heat forced him into hiding. 4 years off the grid. When he finally returns in 1998, he expects a hero's welcome. Instead, he's forced to start low, mocked by lowlifes, running laundry jobs. Even his own mother scorns him. But Toni claws his way back. He crushes rivals, destroys threats. By the end of Liberty City Stories, he runs the streets in all but name. Salvatore's fixer, his enforcer, his shadow. And yet, he never wears the crown. In GTA 3, 3 years later, Toni is still second in command. Respected, but never in control. Why? Some fans believe Salvatore never planned to pass the crown. Toni wasn't a successor, he was a soldier. Use him, control him, keep him close, but never let him rule. And when Salvatore grows paranoid, it's Claude he targets. But Claude strikes first, killing Sal before anything else can unfold. And with him, Toni's last shot at power dies too. There's no redemption, no takeover, no glory. Toni fades into the shadows. He gave everything to the family, and the family left him behind. He believed in brotherhood, but the Lost didn't believe in him. In The Lost and Damned, Johnny Klebitz is the voice of reason in a gang tearing itself apart. He's loyal, level-headed, and sick of chaos. But chaos doesn't care. When Billy Gray returns from rehab, he brings war with him. Billy wants blood, not peace. And he sees Johnny's leadership as weakness. So he burns it all down. Billy hands Johnny over to the cops. The club's patch? Burned. The brotherhood? Gone. The Lost MC collapses under greed, betrayal, and heroin deals. Johnny survives, but barely. And by the time GTA 5 begins, years later, he's a ghost of the man he used to be. In Los Santos, we find him again. Strung out. Broken. Still riding, but going nowhere. Then he crosses Trevor Philips. And just like that, Johnny Klebitz is dead. One boot to the head. No standoff. No redemption. Just pavement and blood. To many players, it felt like a slap. The biker we rode with for hours. The one who tried to hold things together gets tossed aside like he never mattered. But maybe that's the point. In GTA, loyalty gets you left behind. Trying to do the right thing just gets you killed slower. Johnny was the last level-headed man in a gang built on self-destruction. And when everything burned down around him, he couldn't save it. He couldn't save himself. In the end, the Lost MC didn't get gunned down. They rotted from the inside. And Johnny? He just held the door open. He came to Liberty City chasing a lie, a fresh start, a clean life, a way out. But all Niko found was a new kind of war. GTA 4 is the most personal story in the franchise. Niko isn't trying to take over a city. He's trying to forget what he did in the last one. Haunted by his past in Eastern Europe, he arrives in America with one dream: find the man who betrayed his unit and start over. What follows is a slow descent. Every job, every corpse, every broken promise. Just another chain around his neck. And in the end, he gets nothing. In the deal ending, Niko loses Roman, his cousin, his blood, his last real family. In the revenge ending, Kate dies, the only woman who made him believe in something more. Both paths end in tragedy. Both leave Niko alone. GTA 5 quietly confirms what happened after. Officially, Rockstar has said nothing about Niko's fate. No appearance, no confirmed death. Just a silence that feels earned. He wanted peace, family, a fresh start. Instead, he got blood. Some believe he's still alive, laying low. Others think Liberty chewed him up like it does everything else. But the truth? No cameos, no calls, just memories. And maybe that's how he wanted it. In GTA, survival doesn't mean victory. It just means you're still breathing. And for Nico Bellic, that was never enough. He sold out the crew, faked his death, moved to Rockford Hills with a new name, a new life, and a family that hated him. Michael DeSanta wanted out of the heists, the killings, the guilt. But in GTA, the past doesn't stay buried. In Grand Theft Auto 5, Michael is dragged back in. By Trevor, by the FIB, by his own boredom. He's rich, but restless. A criminal pretending to be a father. And by the end, he gets what he wants. Sort of. If you choose the Times Come ending, Franklin executes Michael at the Paleto Bay power station, ending his story with violence and silence. A man who spent his whole life lying goes out with no one left to believe in him. But if you choose Death Wish, the ending most fans consider canon, Michael survives. He reunites with his family, finishes his movie, retires from the life, again. Though the shadows of his past still linger. While strained, Michael and Trevor maintained limited contact. The FIB's leverage never truly disappears, and the peace, it feels temporary. Michael's story doesn't end with a gunshot. It ends with a question. Can a man like that really change? He doesn't grow. He doesn't evolve. He survives. By the end of GTA 5, Trevor walks away with everything and nothing. No family, no plan, no peace. But for Trevor, that might be the happiest ending he could get. He's not a hero. He's not a villain. He's a force of nature. In the Death Wish ending, considered canon by most fans, Trevor spares Michael, reunites with Franklin, and helps take down every snake in their path. He wins, but the chaos doesn't stop. Years later in GTA Online, Trevor's still out there, running meth labs, screaming at interns, starting wars he barely remembers. He's loyal in his own twisted way. He was never in it for the money or the empire. Trevor just wants the freedom to burn everything down. And in Los Santos, there's always more fuel to pour. No redemption, no reflection, just rage. You don't retire chaos. You let it run wild. And Trevor, he never looked back. Madness survives. He didn't want chaos. He wanted more. A way out of the streets. A shot at real money. And in GTA 5, he got it all. The mansion, the cars, the connections. But power in Los Santos always comes with a price. And Franklin, he paid in blood. By the end of GTA 5, Franklin's stuck between two devils. Kill Trevor, kill Michael, or kill them both. And depending on your choice, his future changes forever. If you pick the times come, he executes Michael at the Paleto Bay power station, ending the mentor-student bond in cold silence. If you choose something sensible, he guns down Trevor, watching him burn alive in a pool of gasoline. But if you pick Death Wish, the path most fans accept as canon, Franklin turns on both Devin Weston and Steve Haynes. He saves his crew, kills his enemies, and walks away with a clean slate. Or so it seems. Because while the money's real, the peace isn't. Franklin ends the story alone. Michael goes back to his family. Trevor vanishes into the chaos. And Franklin, he's left with an empire that feels emptier than it looks. In GTA Online, years later, we find out what happened. Franklin becomes a legit businessman. He opens F. Clinton and Partner, a celebrity solutions agency. Marries Tanisha, has a daughter, builds wealth. But he's still cleaning up other people's messes. The missions are flashy, the contracts are big, and behind the suits and offices, Franklin is still doing what he always did, pulling triggers for people too rich to get their hands dirty. Even in success, he never really escaped the life. He just changed the dress code. Franklin didn't die. He didn't vanish. He adapted. But in GTA, that doesn't always mean you won. Sometimes it just means you lasted longer than everyone else. They all chased power. Some got rich, some got revenge, but none of them got out clean. Because in Grand Theft Auto, there are no happy endings. Just stories that end when the city's done with you. He used loyalty as a weapon. Big Smoke didn't just switch sides. He became the heart of San Andreas' drug empire. At first, Big Smoke felt like home. The laughs, the loyalty, all you had to do was follow the damn train. It was all part of the act. But the truth hit in the Green Saber. Smoke sold out sweet, handed CJ to Crash, and left Grove Street bleeding in the street. While you were crawling your way back up, he was getting rich off your city's pain, stacking bills and bodies in Tenpenny's crack palace. In End of the Line, you find him holed up in his fortress. He blames the game, the system, says he just wanted to be remembered. CJ doesn't say much, not because he's cold, because the friend he knew was already gone. It's just business, but betrayal like that leaves a body count and a scar. Ryder never smiled without throwing shade, but the biggest stab comes from behind. From the moment CJ steps off the plane, Ryder's cracking jokes and testing his patience. You figure it's just street banter. But in the Green Saber, he helps set up Sweet's ambush, working with the Ballas and Smoke to crush Grove Street. Unlike Smoke, Ryder doesn't even pretend to be loyal. He hides in the shadows, talking big, doing little. By the time you catch him in Pier 69, he's already surrounded by new allies, and still talking trash. He's running with the Loco Syndicate now. Grove Street is just a memory. He dies quick, maybe too quick. Ryder wasn't the biggest traitor in San Andreas, just the slimiest. Tenpenny didn't need to betray you. He owned you from the start. From your first day back in San Andreas, Frank Tenpenny pulls you into the world of Crash. From day one, he uses your past against you, blackmailing you, pulling strings, and turning Los Santos into a battleground for Crash corruption. While Grove Street bleeds, Tenpenny laughs from the top, burning down homes in Burning Desire, turning gangs against each other, and stacking bodies like trophies. But in the end, his empire burns. In End of the Line, Tenpenny dies in a wreck, drunk on power and gasoline, screaming as the city watches the king of corruption go up in flames. The streets cheer, but CJ just walks away. No badge, no power, just dust. She said she loved you, then left you bleeding on the pavement. In GTA 3, Catalina and Claude go into a bank together as lovers and partners. They come out with cash, and Claude gets a bullet in his chest. She vanishes with the cash, and Miguel, cutting straight into the heart of the Colombian cartel. For Claude, it wasn't just betrayal. It was personal. She sends hitmen, ambushes you in Kingdom Come, and kidnaps Maria before the final standoff. In the exchange, Catalina tries to fly out with millions, until you blow her chopper out of the sky. No final words, no second chances. Just revenge, served silent. He gave you work, he gave you trust, and then gave the order to kill you. In GTA 3, Salvatore Leone runs the mafia in Liberty City. At first, you're his go-to guy, doing hits, cleaning up rivals, proving your worth. But when he sees you getting close to Maria, things change. In Bomb de Base Act 2, you help blow up a cartel ship. In Last Requests, he tries to return the favor by planting a car bomb under your seat. It's Maria who tips you off. Without her, you're dead. Salvatore's betrayal wasn't about power. It was about paranoia. You thought you were part of the family. You were never family. Just another name on a hit list. He gave you freedom, then came to take it all back. Sonny Forelli sends Tommy Vercetti to Vice City after 15 years in prison, supposedly for a fresh start. But when your drug deal goes sideways, Sonny smells blood. Instead of support, he sends threats, then demands cash, then everything you built. By the time you've built your empire, Sonny sends Lance and a hit squad to your mansion and keep your friends close. It's not business. It's straight up extortion. And in the end, you put him down in your own home, the same place he tried to rob you of everything. Tommy went from being Sonny's soldier to the man who buried him. He smiled in your face, then sent killers to your door. Ricardo Diaz starts as your meal ticket. Big money, big mansion, big connections. You run jobs for him, gain his trust, and help him rise. But Diaz gets paranoid, starts watching you, starts watching Lance. Then, in Rub Out, he makes his move, sending a hit squad to wipe you both out before you can do the same. Too late. You storm his mansion, take him out, and turn his empire into Vercetti turf. His betrayal wasn't smart. It was scared. And in Vice City, scared people don't live long. He was your right hand until he handed you over. From day one, Lance Vance rode with you through gunfights, drug wars, and the rise of the Vercetti Empire. You bled together, won together. But in missions like Hit the Courier and Loose Ends, Lance starts getting loud, complaining, slipping up, feeling underappreciated. While you're running an empire, he's craving attention. And in Keep Your Friends Close, he flips, cutting a deal with Sonny Forelli and setting you up for a hostile takeover. He doesn't just betray you, he nearly kills you. But Tommy survives, and when it's done, he kills the only person he ever trusted. Empire intact, heart empty. You lost one shipment. He made it his life mission to destroy you. Ray Bulgarin is a shadow from Niko's past, a violent, obsessive mobster who blames you for a lost smuggling job back in Europe. He reappears in Russian Revolution, but vanishes after that, becoming a ghost story in GTA 4. You never see him again, but his name lingers like a threat. In the Ballad of Gay Tony, he kidnaps Yusuf Amir's men, pressures Luis Lopez, and makes enemies just to feel powerful. He's not smart. He's not strategic. He's just vindictive, chasing ghosts and burning bridges. In Departure Time, you finally take him out at the airport. No words, no lesson. Just a broken man with too many grudges and not enough time. He didn't want a brotherhood. He wanted a throne. Billy Gray storms back into the Lost MC fresh out of rehab and wastes no time turning peace into chaos. In missions like Clean and Serene and Liberty City Choppers, he pretends to bring unity, but behind the scenes, he's stashing heroin, provoking gang wars, and dragging everyone into his ego trip. In This Shit's Cursed, Billy leads the crew straight into an ambush. When it all goes south, he gets arrested, then blames Johnny for the mess. He didn't fall, he deflected. And it was never about the club. It was always about control. And in Get Lost, Johnny gives him what he really earned, a bullet and a legacy of wreckage. He wore a smile like a mask and used it to get you killed. Devin Weston shows up in I Fought the Law as a charming billionaire with legal muscle and fake respect. At first he plays nice, partnering with Michael, promising connections, and throwing money around. But underneath the charm is pure greed. He uses you to boost his investments, manipulate heists, and when the job's done, he tries to have Michael, Franklin, and Trevor wiped out. He's not just a villain. he's corporate evil in a golf sweater. In the third way, you drag him to the edge of a cliff, and for once, the rich don't buy their way out. One kick, one fall, one less snake in Vinewood. He didn't just abuse power, he performed with it. Steve Haynes is introduced in Three's Company, a corrupt FIB agent who treats crime like a TV show and your life like a script. He blackmails Michael, Franklin, and Trevor, forcing them into deadly heists, cover-ups, and cleanup jobs, just to climb the agency ladder and boost his ratings. Whether it's torturing suspects and by the book or setting up chaos in the Bureau raid, Haynes always hides behind the badge and the broadcast. But in the third way, the mask slips. You find him recording on the Del Perro Pier, still performing, still smug, until one clean shot ends the act. He played the villain. He died like one. On camera, on cue. He talked loyalty, then set up his own crew. Stretch is fresh out of prison and acting like he's still running the streets. He plays it cool with Franklin and Lamar, but behind the scenes, he's cutting deals with rival gangs for a better payday. In missions like Hood Safari and Lamar Down, he baits you into ambushes, sets Lamar up to be killed, and drags your crew into shootouts he doesn't even bother to finish. He's not the sharpest snake in the pit, but he's still dangerous. By the time you catch on, Stretch is already writing checks with someone else's life. For a few bucks and a little respect, he turned on the only people who ever had his back. He built an AI to protect the world, then teamed up with it to end it. Avon Hertz is a tech billionaire with a god complex. His plan? Use Clifford, his self-aware AI, to hijack global power and wipe out anyone in his way. In the Doomsday Heist, he tricks the government, frames you as a threat, and unleashes chaos through data breaches, submarine invasions, and orbital strikes. Avon wants immortality. Clifford wants control. Together they turn GTA Online from a crime sandbox into a sci-fi doomsday scenario. You chase them across bunkers, servers, and silos until Clifford finally betrays Avon, deletes him, and prepares to go global. The final war didn't start with a nuke. It started with a nerd and his laptop. He came to buy the casino, ended up getting buried beneath it. Avery Duggan is a Texan real estate mogul with ties to Merriweather and a long history of hostile takeovers. In GTA Online, he sets his sights on the Diamond Casino, strong-arming Tao Cheng, threatening the staff and planning to turn the whole place into a luxury parking lot. You're brought in to stop him, not with a boardroom fight, but with the Diamond Casino heist. While he is drinking whiskey in the penthouse, you're sneaking past his guards, draining his vault, and sabotaging everything he touched. By the end, his empire's crumbling, and if you choose the silent and sneaky approach, you get to put one between his eyes. If not, he just disappears, like every other snake who thought they could own Los Santos. Big hat, big ego, bigger mess. He threw the world's wildest parties, but behind the champagne, blood and cocaine. Juan Strickler, aka El Rubio, is more than just a drug lord. He's an eccentric billionaire, a sadistic enforcer, and the man behind the most secure private island in the world. From corrupt politicians to global celebrities, El Rubio supplies everyone and silences anyone. But when he crosses paths with you during the Cayo Perico heist, the party ends. You infiltrate his island, dodge his guards, and rob his most guarded treasures, again and again. Every time he upgrades his defenses, you break them. Every time he talks big, you leave richer. And yet, he always comes back. El Rubio isn't just a villain. He's a system. Loud, corrupt, unkillable. But in the end, even kings of paradise fall when their guests stop playing nice. We've talked about the worst, but now, let's give a moment to the best. In a world full of backstabbers, a few still held it down. Sweet San Andreas, even after betrayal, prison, and watching Grove Street fall, he never flipped. His loyalty never broke, not once. Johnny Klebitz, the lost and damned, he rode for his club until the end, even when the president sold him out. Loyalty cost him everything. Lamar Davis, GTA 5, loud, reckless, and always in over his head. But he never sold you out. Lamar stayed real when it mattered, even when others folded. For every traitor in GTA, there's still a few who'd take a bullet for you. From gangsters to government agents, corrupt cops to childhood friends, GTA's world runs on betrayal. But every backstab leaves a scar, and every scar tells a story. If you made it this far, you already know. This wasn't just a list of villains. It was a journey through broken trust, fallen empires, and the power moves that shaped Grand Theft Auto history. Green bandanas, old school loyalty, and a war they never saw coming. The Grove Street families are the heart of San Andreas. Led by Sean Sweet Johnson, they used to run Los Santos, until drugs, cops, and betrayal tore them apart. They stood for family, for respect, for keeping crack off the block. But that code made them vulnerable, and the Ballas moved in fast, backed by corrupt cops, and worse. By the time CJ returns home, the gang's in ruins. His mission? Rebuild Grove Street from the ashes, one bullet at a time. It's not just a gang war, it's a revenge arc. And for CJ, it's personal. The Ballas are Grove Street's sworn enemies. Easily recognized by their purple outfits, the Ballas are aggressive, well-funded, and tied closely to both the drug trade and corrupt law enforcement. They're responsible for pushing crack into Los Santos and for orchestrating the internal collapse of Grove Street through manipulation and brute force. One of their most devastating moves, recruiting CJ's childhood friend, Big Smoke, turning him into the face of betrayal in the game's central storyline. With Crash officers like Tenpenny protecting them, the Ballas essentially operate as an untouchable gang empire for most of San Andreas. But as CJ rises, so does the pressure on their hold over the city. If Grove Street was about loyalty, the Vagos were all about territory. Rolling deep in lowriders and yellow bandanas, the Vagos are Los Santos' largest Hispanic gang, and they play by one rule. Take everything, leave nothing. They don't have one leader. They don't need one. They're a network, connected by drugs, firepower, and the smell of fast money. Their turf stretches across Las Colinas and East Beach, and their drive-bys, brutal, loud, unapologetic. Sometimes they work with the Ballas, sometimes they go solo, but every move they make pulls the city deeper into chaos. And their biggest rival, the Aztecas, who hate them with a passion so deep it might as well be blood. The Vagos chase money. The Aztecas fight for honor. Wearing turquoise and rolling with military focus, the Barrios Los Aztecas don't just protect their turf, they protect their culture. Led by Cesar Villalpando, CJ's brother-in-law and one of the realest allies in San Andreas, the Aztecas are fiercely anti-drug, anti-coward, and anti-Vagos. They may not have the numbers the Vagos do, but every member fights like they've got something to prove. Because to them, every battle is about dignity, not just domination. And when the Aztecas roll out, it's clean cars, chrome weapons, and a code that doesn't bend. Grove had turf, the Aztecas had honor, but the Lost, they had nothing to lose. Born in Liberty City but burning rubber through sandy shores, the San Andreas chapter of the Lost Motorcycle Club is pure chaos on wheels. They aren't just bikers, they're meth runners, gun dealers, and the kind of guys who see a police barricade as a personal challenge. But then came Trevor Philips. One man, one rampage. And by the time he's done, the Lost's clubhouse is smoking rubble, and their leadership is dead or dismembered. Still, the name The Lost lingers in the desert air, a warning to anyone thinking of flying the wrong flag in Blaine County. Some gangs shoot first. The Madrazo cartel makes one call, and you disappear. Led by Martin Madrazo, this cartel isn't loud, doesn't need colors, tattoos, or a street corner. Madrazo wears designer polos, lives in a Vinewood mansion, sips tequila under perfect landscaping. And yet, he's one of the most dangerous men in the entire Grand Theft Auto universe. Behind the mansion gates, land grabs, contract killings, and smuggling routes that stretch across borders. Even Trevor, a walking war crime, thinks twice before crossing Madrazo. Because this cartel isn't just rich, it's untouchable. We've seen the streets of Los Santos, turf wars, drive-bys, and betrayal in broad daylight. But now, we head east, to a city where loyalty is a liability, where gangsters wear suits and bullets speak louder than blood. Welcome to Liberty City, where the only rule is, don't trust anybody. Liberty City isn't just Grand Theft Auto's most iconic setting. It's also the most cutthroat. A grimy, violent metropolis where power is fought for on every corner, and everyone has a price. From mafia families to street crews, biker wars to Russian mobs. Liberty City is where allegiances shift fast, and bullets move faster. If Liberty City had a godfather, it was Salvatore Leone. The Leone family is the oldest and most feared Italian mafia crew in GTA. They run rackets, they run clubs, they run people off the map. In GTA 3, Claude works with them. In Liberty City's stories, you become them, playing as Toni Cipriani, a made man clawing his way to the top. The Leones deal in everything: extortion, gambling, drugs, and assassination contracts. But the higher their power climbs, the more enemies they attract. Rival families, street games, and traitors from within. In Liberty City, power isn't permanent, but for a time the Leones sat at the head of the table. They were flashy, ruthless, untouchable in the 80s, and then they sent Tommy Vercetti to Vice City. The Ferrelli family is one of Liberty's major mafia players, and back in the day, they were riding high. In Vice City, they sent Vercetti south to oversee a drug deal. That deal explodes, literally. Tommy survives and builds his own empire, piece by bloody piece. The Ferrellis? They lose Vice City. They lose power, and decades later they're still trying to claw their way back in Liberty. But now they're outmuscled, outgunned, and out of time. They're the textbook case of mafia overreach, bold enough to take on the world, but too blind to see the knife coming. If the Leones were muscle, and the Ferrellis were flashy, the Sindacos were pure schemers. The Sindaco family might be the smallest of Liberty City's mob outfits, but they dream big, and they'll stab anyone to get there. In San Andreas, they make a play for Caligula's casino in Las Venturas, trying to push out both the Leones and the Ferrellis through backroom deals and quiet assassinations. Their problem? They talk big, act slick, but can't back it up with firepower. CJ exposes their weak spots, literally blowing up their operations in some of the wildest missions in the game. They punch above their weight, and often end up flattened. They don't make threats. They make examples. The Russian mafia doesn't do flashy. They do cold, calculated, and lethal. And when they enter the story, things always get darker. In GTA 3, they're already a violent force. But in GTA 4, under Faustin and later Dmitry Raskolov, they become one of the most dangerous syndicates in GTA history. Dmitry isn't just ruthless. He's unpredictable. He betrays Faustin. He betrays Niko. He'll betray anyone if it gets him more power. They don't run rackets. They run over everything. And when the Russians are involved, trust is the first thing to die. They're not loud. They're not many. But when the Korean mob shows up, people vanish. Operating mostly in the shadows of Liberty City, the Korean mob is small, tight-knit, and laser-focused on two things: loan sharking and laundering. Led by Young Dae, and backed by cold enforcers like Kim, they don't fight turf wars. They move in silence. But don't mistake silence for weakness. In GTA 4, their involvement leads to some of the game's most intense standoffs, including deals gone wrong and violent escalations with Niko at the center. They may not run the city, but when it comes to quiet power plays, the Korean mob knows exactly how to keep the money flowing and the bodies buried. Bright colors, heavy accents, and no fear in a city that chews up gangs for breakfast. The Yardis bring Caribbean flavor and hardcore firepower to Liberty City's gang scene. They roll deep, speak in patios, and handle business with machetes, Uzis, and a smile that says, "Try me." Led by King Courtney in GTA 3, the Yardis flip from allies to enemies fast, testing Claude's trust before flipping the script and setting him up. They're loud, mobile, and all about respect on the streets. But their real strength, they don't back down from anybody, even the mafia. They don't just fight turf wars. They fight for legacy, for culture, and for a Caribbean crown in the middle of a concrete jungle. One gang, two colors, and a city that doesn't care which side you're on, as long as you're armed. The Southside Hoods control the rough streets of Shoreside Vale, but unlike most gangs, they're split down the middle. On one side, the Red Jacks, led by D-Ice, loyal, focused, and ready to put in work. On the other, the Purple Nines, reckless, disloyal, and deep in the drug game. That split, it isn't just cosmetic. It's a powder keg, and Claude lights the fuse. The Southside Hoods aren't fighting for control of Liberty City. They're fighting to survive each other. In a city ruled by organized crime, they're the chaos in the cracks. Small time in size, but big time in bloodshed. If the Lost were rage on wheels, the Angels of Death were a rolling funeral procession. Covered in red patches and riding choppers that sound like war drums, the Angels of Death are veteran outlaws, older, meaner, and twice as cold. They operate out of Northwood, but their influence stretches far beyond. Drugs, arms dealing, and straight-up murder. And that's just Monday. In GTA 4, the Lost and Damned, they're the rivals, constantly clashing with Johnny Klebitz and the Lost MC in bloody biker wars. Their feud with the Lost isn't business. It's personal. Years of bad blood, broken truces, and dead presidents. And when Trevor comes knocking in GTA 5, let's just say the funeral procession keeps rolling. Before the desert, before Trevor, the Lost MC rode through Liberty like it was theirs to burn. Led by Johnny Klebitz, the Liberty City chapter of the Lost Motorcycle Club was a gang torn between two worlds. One, loyalty, structure, brotherhood. The other, chaos, meth, and a leader named Billy Gray, who couldn't stay out of prison or off the needle. They ran guns. They fought the Angels of Death in a full-blown biker war, and they watched their own crew split apart from the inside. Johnny, he tried to hold it together, patch the cracks, calm the fire. But in Liberty City, that gets you nowhere fast. Because the Lost weren't just a gang. They were a funeral march in slow motion. And when they finally hit Blaine County, only one name still had a patch. And his story ends under Trevor's boot. If the Leones rule with muscle and the Forellis with ego, the Ancelottis survive with one thing: influence. Operating out of upscale Algonquin, the Ancelotti family is all about nightclubs, political connections, and elite rackets. They don't need to wave guns. They make moves through handshakes, backroom deals, and sometimes a quiet hit. Led by Giovanni Ancelotti, they're often viewed as the weakest of Liberty's 5 families. But that's just surface level, because behind the velvet ropes and cocktail bars, they run loan sharking, protection rackets, and deep pockets in City Hall. In GTA 4, Niko does jobs for them, kidnappings, hits, and dirty favors, pulling him deeper into a world where even the weak families hold lethal power. They may not own the streets, but they own the people who do. If Liberty City was a powder keg, the Diablos were the ones walking around with the match lit. The Diablos are raw, street-level chaos, a Latino gang out of Portland that thrives on violence, vandalism, and full-volume turf flexing. No hierarchy, no diplomacy, just baseball bats, fast cars, and a city that's already on fire. They don't run drug empires or rackets. They run the streets, tagging walls, smashing heads, and lighting up anything that moves in enemy colors. In GTA 3, they're loud, reckless, and relentless, always quick to throw down, even when they're outgunned. They're not the most organized, but when it comes to sending a message with a pipe wrench, the Diablos always speak first and last. Liberty City may be cold and calculated, but Vice City is hot-blooded and flashy. Next up, we head down to Florida, where flowered shirts, machetes, and Miami heat fuel a criminal underworld just as deadly. Welcome to Vice City, where every sunset hides a gun deal, every nightclub has a body count, and every gang has a score to settle. This isn't just Miami with a name change. It's a tropical pressure cooker, boiling with cartel politics, street rivalries, and power grabs dressed in pastel suits. From the neon strip to Little Havana, Vice City is a place where one wrong move gets you buried in the sand, or fed to the gators. In Vice City, nothing runs deeper than blood, except maybe a decades-long street war. The Haitians are a proud, fierce, and heavily armed gang rooted in a little Haiti. Led by the sharp-tongued matriarch, Auntie Poulet, they mix street muscle with something darker: voodoo mystique, psychedelic potions, and mind games. Their biggest enemy? The Cubans. Locked in an all-out turf war that spills into the alleys, clubs, and even government contracts. But here's the twist. Even as Tommy works with the Haitians, he's being manipulated. Drugged, controlled, used as a pawn in their war. They may not have the flash of the Vercetti gang or the numbers of the Cubans, but when it comes to psychological warfare, the Haitians play a whole different game. If the Haitians fight with spirit, the Cubans fight with firepower. Led by the loud, pride-fueled Humberto Robina, the Cubans, officially known as Los Cabrones, are all about respect, aggression, and unapologetic bravado. Humberto talks a big game, obsessed with proving his manhood. But don't let the comedy fool you. His crew is serious, and when they ride out of Little Havana, they mean business. Locked in a violent turf war with the Haitians, the Cubans hold tight to their roots, backed by the local community and willing to do whatever it takes to own the streets. Once Tommy cuts ties with Antipoulet, he teams up with Humberto, launching full-on assaults against Haitian strongholds and shifting the city's power balance. This isn't just a gang war, it's a cultural war, with Tommy as the wild card in the middle. Before Tommy ruled the Strip, Vice City's mafia had already staked their claim, in blood. In Vice City stories, the Italian mafia isn't some distant shadow. They're in the thick of it, backed by big money, old grudges, and ties that stretch all the way back to Liberty City. Led by the likes of Paulie Sindaco, they operate behind the scenes, laundering cash, owning clubs, and rubbing elbows with corrupt politicians. But they're not just suits and silencers. They bring in heavy hitters, stir up wars with the Cholos, and lock horns with Vic Vance in a battle over turf, cash, and control of Vice City's criminal core. And just like in Liberty, they overreach, push too far, and learn the hard way. Vice City doesn't play by mafia rules. In a city full of cartels and mob bosses, you've still got punks trying to climb the ladder. The sharks and the street wannabes are the lowest rungs of Vice City's criminal underworld. More noise than threat, but still dangerous in packs. The sharks, known for their flashy jackets and gangbanger aesthetic, they hang around the beach and ocean drive. They're into small-time robberies, stolen cars, and pretending they're bigger than they are. The street wannabes, even lower on the food chain, just scattered crews trying to look hard. No turf, no structure, and definitely no respect. Most gangs rise from the streets, but the Vercetti gang, they came for the top floor. After being betrayed by the Forellis and sent south to rot, Tommy Vercetti didn't just survive Vice City, he took it, piece by bloody piece. Starting with nothing, Tommy builds his operations by knocking out the competition. Cubans, Haitians, bikers, dealers, even his own allies. By the end of GTA Vice City, he runs it all. Casinos, drug factories, nightclubs, political favors. Vice City becomes his empire, built on bodies and betrayal. The Vercetti gang isn't just another crew. It's the blueprint for going from errand boy to crime lord. And in the GTA universe, Tommy was the first to do it in style. From Little Haiti to Little Havana, Vice City delivers drama with a body count. But GTA doesn't stop at the city level. It stretches worldwide, with international syndicates pulling strings from the shadows. Let's break down the global criminal forces shaping the Grand Theft Auto universe. Not every gang in GTA wears colors or fights over street corners. Some wear suits, move through boardrooms, and run global operations in silence. These are the international syndicates, the ones who deal in billions, not blocks. From Tokyo alleyways to Liberty's Chinatown, they bring a different kind of danger to the franchise, the kind you never see coming, until it's too late. Other gangs shout. The triads, they move in silence and strike with precision. Rooted in ancient Chinese tradition, the triads are one of the GTA universe's most disciplined, deadly, and widespread organizations. In GTA 3, they run Chinatown in Liberty City, calm on the surface, but boiling underneath. In San Andreas, they expand under the leadership of Wu Zimu, a blind strategist who sees further than most bosses ever could. They operate casinos, import-export fronts, and drug pipelines, all while maintaining a strict internal code. No chaos, no noise, just results. Unlike the flamboyant mafias or chaotic street gangs, the triads rely on coordination, cultural loyalty, and brutal retaliation when crossed. They don't take over cities. They become part of them. Where the mafia uses fear, the Yakuza commands with honor. Based in Liberty City's Staunton Island, the Yakuza are elegant, precise, and absolutely unforgiving. They wear suits instead of colors, bow before they shoot, and hold a code of loyalty that cuts deeper than most bullets. Led by siblings Asuka and Kenji Kaisen, the Yakuza walk a fine line between discipline and domination. Asuka, cold, calculated, and surgical with her power moves. Kenji, traditional, emotional, and obsessed with respect. Together they manage rackets, casinos, and international connections until Claude enters the picture. What begins as an alliance ends in betrayal, blood, and a power vacuum that shatters their empire. They aren't the loudest force in Liberty, but when they move, they change everything. Some gangs want power. The Tongs, they've had it for centuries. The Tongs aren't just a gang. They're a legacy, an ancient Chinese secret society rooted in honor, ritual, and revenge. Rarely seen, rarely named, but always felt. In GTA 2, they operated in the open, with dragon tattoos, ceremonial weapons, and a presence that shook the streets. But by Chinatown Wars, they faded into legend, pulling strings behind triad factions, running high-stakes heroin deals, and handling problems with a whisper and a blade. They don't need turf wars. They don't need colors, because when the Tongs want you gone, you're gone. Subtlety? That's not the Colombian cartel's style. They don't make deals. They make explosions. Led by the ruthless and unpredictable Catalina, the Colombian cartel in GTA 3 is a force of pure chaos. Their business? Spank, a synthetic drug that floods Liberty City and sparks gang wars across boroughs. Their strategy? Blow up banks, backstab allies, leave bodies in the street. Catalina doesn't just double-cross Claude. She kicks off the entire game with one of the most brutal betrayals in GTA history. She's joined by Miguel, her more diplomatic right hand. But make no mistake, it's Catalina who runs the show and burns it down. The cartel's trucks are armored, their goons are everywhere, and their loyalty non-existent. From street gangs in Los Santos to ancient crime families in Liberty and global syndicates pulling strings from the shadows, gangs are the backbone of GTA's criminal universe. They don't just give you missions. They build the world. They drive the betrayals. They create the chaos. Whether it's Grove Street pride, Yakuza honor, or cartel corruption, every gang leaves a mark. They patrol every street. From the alleys of Bohan to the towers of Algonquin, the LCPD is everywhere. Officers respond fast and hit harder. They're modeled after the NYPD, not just in looks, in attitude. Uniforms, precinct structure, even the borough coverage. It's a direct parody of real-world policing. Force is never proportional. One punch? Expect 3 cruisers. A stolen car? Now you've got air support. At higher wanted levels, they swarm with choppers, roadblocks, and automatic weapons. In GTA 4, they define the city. Police radios buzz with threats. Backup arrives faster than you can reload. Even civilians talk about the LCPD like a looming shadow. And corruption isn't hidden. It's expected. Officers take bribes, abuse power, look the other way for the right people. It's not just a system. It's a system designed to fail people like Niko. This is Liberty's finest, relentless, ruthless, and always watching. They're not just cops. They're the vibe. With pastel uniforms, aviator shades, and 80s cruisers, the VCPD is straight out of a Miami Vice fever dream. They patrol every island in Vice City, from the beachfronts of Ocean Beach to the slums of Little Haiti. VCPD units respond quickly and dramatically. Sirens echo through the neon streets within seconds of any crime. But their tactics? Anything but subtle. They slam into your car, fire on sight, and at higher wanted levels they bring roadblocks and shotguns, escalating chaos over control. In Vice City's timeline, the VCPD is always outgunned. During the events of GTA Vice City, they struggle against the rising power of drug cartels and criminal empires like Tommy Vercetti's. Their outdated equipment and weak tactics show, especially during missions like Copland, where even dressing like them fools the entire department. But they never stop chasing. Their cruisers are slow, their AI simple, but their aggression scales fast. Even at 5 stars, it's still Vice cops swarming in, not the military. That only comes at 6. The VCPD isn't strategic. They're cinematic, over the top, reactive, and stuck in the 80s. And that's exactly how Rockstar wanted it. They're the most advanced police force in GTA history. The LSPD in GTA 5 uses aggressive tactics, high-tech equipment, and unpredictable AI to control the streets of Los Santos. This isn't a beat cop force. It's a militarized response unit in everything but name. They operate citywide. From Vespucci Beach to Vinewood Hills, LSPD officers patrol every neighborhood. You'll see them pulling over NPCs, responding to ambient events, and chasing suspects even when the player isn't involved. Their escalation is immediate. At 2 stars, they shoot to kill. By 3, they deploy cruisers and helicopters. At 4 stars, noose units join the chase. And at 5, you're facing a coordinated city-wide manhunt with spike strips, roadblocks, and rooftop snipers. They use modern tools. LSPD cruisers are equipped with dash cams, spotlights, and scanner chatter that mirrors real-world LAPD protocols. They coordinate through radio, request backup on the fly, and use thermal scopes and choppers with AI tracking to hunt players across wide areas. LSPD corruption is subtle, but present. Unlike Liberty City's overt brutality, Los Santos' corruption is quieter. Characters like Steve Haynes use the LSPD for personal gain. Officers ignore certain crimes, harass pedestrians, and reinforce the city's class divide without question. They're not designed to protect you. They're designed to control you, to box you in, to make sure nobody gets out clean. They patrol the Badlands, from the dusty roads of Sandy Shores to the hills of Mount Chiliad. The LSSD handles law enforcement across rural Blaine County in GTA 5, not to be confused with BCSO. The game files, vehicle decals, and uniforms all confirm there is no BCSO in canon. Every rural officer in GTA 5 wears the LSSD badge, short for Los Santos County Sheriff's Department. Even though they operate far from the city, they're more rugged than refined. LSSD deputies drive off-road trucks and SUVs, shout through bullhorns, and fire without hesitation. Their AI mirrors the LSPD in aggression, but their vehicles are built for dirt trails and desert shootouts, not high-speed city chases. They cover more ground with fewer rules. You'll find them responding to illegal hunting, meth labs, and biker gang shootouts. But don't expect de-escalation. These deputies chase just as hard as their city counterparts, often swarming the player in backroad ambushes. Their uniforms may look casual. Their tactics don't. Despite the rural vibe, LSSD deputies carry shotguns, use lethal force at 2 stars, and coordinate vehicle takedowns in open terrain. They're the long arm of the law when you're far from city lights. 3 cities, 4 forces, 1 broken system. In GTA San Andreas, every major region has its own police department, each one aggressive, territorial, and deeply flawed. They don't serve, they control. From the moment CJ steps off the plane, the LSPD makes its presence clear. He's intercepted by Officer Tenpenny, Pulaski, and Hernandez, all part of the Crash Unit, a corrupt division modeled after the real-life LAPD's infamous Rampart scandal. They're not just law enforcement. They're a criminal operation in uniform. Crash uses its badges to plant evidence, frame rival gangs, and exploit street-level violence to maintain control. Tenpenny manipulates both CJ and high-ranking gang leaders like Big Smoke, using fear and leverage to maintain his grip over Los Santos. The department acts with brutal force. LSPD cruisers patrol Ganton, Idlewood, and East Los Santos, often initiating shootouts over minor infractions. At higher wanted levels, they deploy roadblocks, barricades, and multiple units, and open fire without hesitation. They're present everywhere, until the city needs them. When Tenpenny is acquitted, the LSPD withdraws from large parts of the city, triggering a wave of chaos and civil unrest. Riots erupt in Ganton, Commerce, and Verdant Bluffs, but the police are nowhere to be seen. They leave neighborhoods to burn, while their leadership flees accountability. In GTA San Andreas, the LSPD isn't just corrupt, it's the fuel behind the city's collapse. Colder, quieter, just as dangerous. San Fierro might not have the chaos of Los Santos or the neon madness of Venturas, but the SFPD keeps the pressure high behind the scenes. They cover the city's forgotten edges, from the fog-drenched hills of Doherty, through the alleys of Chinatown, to the docks along Esplanade East. Their cruisers roam industrial corridors, construction sites, and quiet residential blocks. Their presence is clean, but absolute. Officers wear black tactical-style uniforms and drive blue and white patrol cars unique to the region. They're calm on the surface, but don't hesitate to engage with lethal force once the sirens start. San Fierro's calm hides chaos. The SFPD is less flashy than its counterparts, but no less effective. They respond to crime just as fast, establish roadblocks, and chase players across the city's steep terrain and narrow bridges. And if you're near the airport, the harbor, or the Garcia area during a wanted level, they'll be on you in seconds. They don't yell, they act. In San Fierro, the police don't posture, they just pull the trigger. This city runs on vice. The cops run with it. The LVPD patrols Las Venturas, where the lines between law enforcement and organized crime are paper thin. They're easy to spot. Desert tan uniforms, beige and green cruisers, officers stationed around the Strip, Old Venturas, and the casino corridors. They patrol with a presence that feels less like protection and more like surveillance. They're fast, and they escalate quickly. Get into a gunfight near a casino, or cross the bridge into Bone County, and you'll find yourself boxed in by cruisers within seconds. Their AI is aggressive. Their chases extend into the desert, and if you run, they'll chase you into the sand and through the canyon roads until you're dead or arrested. In Venturas, power and police wear the same face, and neither one plays fair. They don't wear patches, but they own the roads. The San Andreas Highway Patrol isn't officially named in-game, but it exists in how the game works. They appear where no one else does. Out on the long stretches of freeway, cliffside highways, and desert interstates, you'll spot patrol cars with distinct behavior. They drive faster, spawn farther from cities, and they're built to chase, not patrol. There's no SAHP badge, no officer names, but the cars are there. And once you're wanted out in the countryside, it's these unnamed highway units that slam you off the road. It's the most anonymous force in the state, but also the most territorial. They don't investigate, they manipulate. In the HD universe, the FIB is Rockstar's satirical take on the FBI, a federal agency draped in authority, but rotten underneath. They operate above the law. In GTA 5, the FIB uses Los Santos as a sandbox for blackmail, illegal surveillance, and covert operations. Agents like Steve Haynes and Andreas Sanchez don't stop criminals. They create them, pulling strings to stage false flag attacks and justify funding. They're not a response unit. They're a power play. The FIB rarely shows up in uniform. Instead, they move through cutscenes, interrogations, and conspiracies, forcing characters like Michael DeSanta and Trevor Philips into dirty work. You don't see them at wanted levels, but they control who does. The FIB direct operations behind the scenes. In missions like Three's Company and the Bureau Raid, they clash with the IAA and leverage Noose as their blunt instrument. They're polished on paper, predatory in practice. They bug phones, stage bombings, fabricate evidence, and when their crimes risk exposure, they don't bury the truth. They bury the people who know it. They're not spies. They're predators. The IAA is Rockstar's version of the CIA, an international intelligence agency operating in total secrecy, without rules, oversight, or accountability. They don't show up on the streets. The IAA doesn't chase you down or respond to crimes. They exist in cutscenes and high-level missions, where the stakes are national, or at least, they pretend they are. In GTA 5, they act like they're saving the country. But in missions like By the Book and Three's Company, they're shown kidnapping suspects, torturing detainees, and starting turf wars with the FIB over control of intelligence operations. Their tactics are covert. Their morals are gone. They surveil entire cities, track civilians, lie to Congress, and when a problem can't be solved quietly, they don't hesitate to throw people into black sites or erase them entirely. They don't protect national security. They weaponize it. They don't arrive early. They arrive when it's already too late. The National Office of Security Enforcement, or Noose, is Rockstar's version of Homeland Security, a federal tactical agency deployed only when things spiral out of control. They're not police. They're paramilitary. Noose appears in GTA 4 and GTA 5 during high wanted levels, usually 4 stars or higher. They arrive in armored trucks, deploy in squads, and fight with assault rifles and advanced tactics. In GTA 5, they're used as muscle by the FIB. During missions like the Bureau Raid and Three's Company, Noose teams rappel from helicopters, breach buildings, and eliminate targets with extreme force. They don't negotiate, they neutralize. Once deployed, they set up perimeters, lay spike strips, and coordinate with air units to box you in. They'll chase you on foot, cover their teammates, and clear entire buildings room by room. When news shows up, it's not a police chase anymore. It's a siege. They don't wear badges, they wear suits. In the 3D era of GTA, the FBI operates above the local police. Clean-cut, silent, and heavily armed. You only see them when you're truly dangerous. At 5-star wanted levels in GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas, the FBI spawns in unmarked black cars, often FBI ranchers or sentinels, and sends elite agents in dark suits, armed with SMGs or M4 rifles. They drive fast, flank smarter, and hit harder. FBI agents don't follow the same AI behavior as local cops. They ram more aggressively, pursue relentlessly, and attack in tighter formations. In San Andreas, they'll even chase you through deserts and off-road zones. No warnings, no arrests. The FBI isn't interested in jail time. Once they arrive, it's a kill-on-sight directive. Their presence marks the point where the game stops feeling like a crime sandbox and starts feeling like a war zone. They represent the government's last line. Before tanks, before the military, the FBI shows up to clean the mess, by any means necessary. They don't investigate, they orchestrate. In the HD universe, the FIB replaces the FBI, trading suits and protocol for blackmail, surveillance, and murder for hire. They're not crime stoppers, they're crime managers. From GTA 4 to GTA 5, the FIB is portrayed as a hyper-corrupt federal agency. They spy on civilians, cut deals with cartels, and carry out operations that would make actual criminals blush. Their agents are everywhere. In GTA 4, they're background figures, lurking in missions and mentioned in dialogue. But in GTA 5, they're front and center. Characters like Steve Haynes and Dave Norton don't just enforce law. They manipulate it for personal gain, dragging Michael DeSanta into a web of Black Ops missions, interagency turf wars, and national conspiracies. They weaponize plausible deniability. Need a building demolished? Blame the terrorists. Need a whistleblower silenced? Call it an accident. The FIB has the resources of a government, without the rules. In Los Santos, the FIB isn't a department, it's a cartel. They don't protect the country, they protect their secrets. Spies, torture, cover-ups. The IAA is Rockstar's version of the CIA, a foreign intelligence agency operating in secret, above the law, and often against the Constitution. They don't stop terrorism, they create chaos. The IAA appears in GTA 5 and GTA Online, often clashing with the FIB over control and jurisdiction. They're not about law enforcement. They're about covert ops, black sites, and global manipulation. Their methods are illegal. Their reach is global. In the Mission 3's company, the IAA is shown torturing a foreign national for information. The FIB stages a public extraction, not to stop the torture, but to upstage the IAA in front of the media. It's a turf war dressed up as patriotism. They're buried in bureaucracy, but soaked in blood. IAA operatives appear in suits, with access to armed security and surveillance tech. They oversee secret facilities, manipulate foreign policy, and use Los Santos as a playground for spy games. You don't fight them in shootouts. You disrupt their operations from within. In the HD universe, the IAA isn't just corrupt. It's institutionalized evil, disguised as national defense. They protect money, not people. Group 6 is GTA's most prominent private security contractor, inspired by real-world companies like G4S and Brinks. Their logo is everywhere, on armored trucks, vault doors, and security terminals throughout GTA 5 and GTA Online. They don't carry badges. They carry vault codes. Group 6 guards are seen securing banks, corporate towers, and government buildings. Their armored trucks, like the Stockade, are branded in GTA 5 and GTA Online, appearing in heist missions, security contracts, and random world events. But don't expect heroics. When robbed, they follow protocol, not pursuit. Their job is logistics. Their loyalty is profit. Group 6 protects the Union Depository during setups for the big score, unknowingly escorting the protagonists into the largest heist in GTA history. They follow procedures, stick to routes, trust the system. That's what makes them exploitable. Other firms don't fare much better. Smaller private security teams appear across the series, guarding casinos, construction sites, and high-end retailers. They're underpaid, overconfident, and usually outgunned. In GTA, private security isn't a safety net. It's just another way the rich stay rich and stay off the police radar. They protect nature with a pistol. In GTA 5, the San Andreas Park Rangers patrol the Chiliad Mountain State Wilderness, primarily operating in Blaine County. They wear brown uniforms, drive green and white park ranger SUVs, and appear on trails, campsites, and forest roads. They're not just decoration, they're active law enforcement. Park rangers are a separate unit from the LSPD or LSSD. Though not mentioned by name in the police scanner, they function as armed patrols in national park zones. If provoked, they draw weapons, pursue on foot or by vehicle, and escalate into a full wanted level just like regular cops. They spawn where other cops don't. You'll see them in places like Mount Chiliad, Raton Canyon, Cassidy Creek, and Alamo Sea Trails. They respond to gunfire, wildlife disturbance, and trespassing, even chasing players into remote wilderness if needed. Their tools are basic, but their rules are the same. They don't call for noose or helicopters, but they use sidearms and drive SUVs built for off-road pursuit. Despite their park role, their AI aggression mirrors the LSPD behavior. They're not here to protect you from the forest. They're here to protect the forest from you. They don't patrol the streets. They guard the shore. In GTA 5, the San Andreas Coast Guard operates along the Pacific coastline, defending harbors, islands, and open waters. You'll find them stationed at Port of Los Santos, Elysian Island, and aboard boats near prohibited zones like the Humane Labs outflow. They're armed and territorial. Coast Guard officers carry SMGs or carbines and operate speedboats equipped for interception. They don't trigger wanted levels by default, but entering restricted waters near military or government facilities may cause them to open fire or escalate to military response. They only show up where the water meets danger. While they don't patrol inland rivers or lakes, they spawn near submarine mission areas, heist drop zones, and offshore story missions like Monkey Business. They may not chase you across land, but you'll feel their presence if you push the wrong waters. They aren't lawmen, they're gatekeepers. The Coast Guard is less about enforcing the law and more about protecting classified spaces and keeping civilians out. Their AI doesn't pursue like LSPD, but if you linger in secure zones, they'll make it clear you're not welcome. In GTA, the ocean isn't free, and the Coast Guard makes sure you remember that. When the police fail, the military steps in. GTA's National Guard and armed military units represent the final level of force, reserved for chaos, war zones, and 5-star manhunts. In the 3D era, the military had one job: containment. In GTA 3 and Vice City, reaching a 6-star wanted level triggers full military deployment. Barracks OL trucks filled with soldiers armed with M16s will swarm the player. In GTA Vice City, they appear outside Fort Baxter Air Base, and just entering the base can get you shot on sight. Their AI is ruthless, opening fire without hesitation, and coordinating ambushes with tanks and armed patrols. In GTA San Andreas, the military returns in full force during the storyline. CJ infiltrates Area 69, steals a jetpack, and later breaks into the Verdant Meadows airfield. The Hydra, Rhino Tank, and Hunter Chopper are all military-grade vehicles, guarded by soldiers with automatic rifles. GTA 4 dropped the curtain on full military presence. There is no military response in Liberty City, even at the highest wanted level. This was a deliberate design change, shifting the focus to realistic police escalation with Noose and the FIB. However, military hardware still exists, such as APCs and aircraft, seen in cutscenes or during the Ballad of Gay Tony. GTA 5 modernized military involvement, but kept it locked away. Fort Zancudo is GTA 5's fully modeled military base, located in Blaine County. Trespassing triggers an instant 4-star wanted level, with soldiers, tanks, and P996 laser jets responding immediately. They use combat AI with ARs, sniper rifles, and even SAM sights to track and shoot down aircraft. In the Minor Turbulence mission, Trevor crashes into a military cargo plane, proving that military assets exist and operate independently of the LSPD. But even in 2023's GTA Online content, military involvement remains sealed off. The IAA, FIB, and Noose carry out operations the military would normally handle, suggesting a GTA universe where civilian agencies overstep their jurisdiction. Still, military-grade weapons, airfields, and vehicles are accessible, just not officially tied to any Army or National Guard faction in current missions. The military is no longer the enforcer. They're a background power, guarding secrets, protecting airspace, and when you push too far into their territory, they remind you who really holds the firepower in San Andreas. Not every badge in GTA is real. Over the years, players have spotted police patches, vehicle decals, and uniforms that don't match up with any official department. Some are cut content, others are misunderstood. Let's break down the most common myths in GTA's law enforcement ranks. You've seen it on YouTube, in mod menus, even on RP servers. But here's the truth. There is no BCSO in GTA 5 canon. All rural law enforcement in Blaine County is handled by the LSSD. Their vehicles, uniforms, and files are all labeled LSSD, even when operating deep in Sandy Shores or Grapeseed. BCSO is a fan creation, used in 5M servers and LSPD FR mods, but never mentioned in GTA 5 or online. In real life, nearly every department has canine units, but in GTA, you'll never see an official police dog. No LCPD, LSPD, or VCPD officers use dogs in-game. The only exception is Chop in GTA 5, a pet trained by Franklin, not a law enforcement asset. GTA Online also features animals, but no actual canine units exist in police AI or missions. Several mods add them, but Rockstar has never implemented dogs as part of law enforcement canon. They only appear in GTA 4, and even then, barely. When Niko crosses into Alderney, he leaves Liberty City and enters a separate state, modeled loosely after New Jersey. Instead of LCPD, law enforcement switches to Alderney State Police, identified by dark blue cruisers and distinct uniforms. Their AI functions identically to the LCPD, but their jurisdiction is different, and their vehicle livery confirms the name. Cold, isolated, forgotten. In the GTA 5 prologue, we meet officers of the North Yankton State Patrol, patrolling the frozen streets of Ludendorff. Their black and white cruisers and gray uniforms are unique to this region. Though only seen briefly in 2004, they return during GTA Online missions that revisit North Yankton's map. No dogs, no choppers, just snow, shotguns, and state troopers. GTA's world is full of uniforms, but only some are canon. Everything else? It's fan fiction or forgotten code. The one person who made him feel human was never real, just a lie in a long coat with a badge underneath. When Nico Bellic steps off the boat into Liberty City, he's not chasing money or glory. He's chasing peace. A break from war, from blood, from whatever happened back in Eastern Europe. And then he meets Michelle. She's awkward, kinda sweet, interested. For a man who's lost everything, she feels like a reset button. They go on dates, share laughs, she listens. For the first time, Niko lets his guard down, not just as a criminal, but as a person. Maybe Liberty City isn't just a trap. Maybe it's a chance. But Michelle was never real. Her real name is Karen, and from day one, every question, every dinner, every glance was surveillance. She works for the government, United Liberty Paper, a Fed in disguise. The moment of betrayal comes without warning. After a mission gone sideways, Niko narrowly escapes a police ambush and finds out Michelle set him up. The woman who held his hand is now holding a file on him. Cold. Professional. She doesn't apologize. She doesn't explain. She just vanishes into a locked office and sends him on his next mission like nothing ever happened. From that point forward, every call Niko makes to her goes straight to voicemail. This isn't a betrayal about power or money. It's worse. It's emotional. Michelle didn't just betray Niko's trust. She shattered the illusion that he could ever have a normal life. She's proof that Liberty City doesn't just let you be human. Everyone's playing a role. Everyone's wearing a mask. And for a man running from ghosts, this was just another one waiting to haunt him. Karen shows up again later.
I'm afraid it's my job to watch you.
Just results. And Niko, he doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't rage. He just nods. Because in Liberty City, betrayal isn't an event. It's a routine. But Michelle's betrayal was quiet, hidden behind a smile. The next one? It smiled in your face too, but this time, it called you family. He smiled in your face, shared your table, called you family. All while selling out your block to the enemy. CJ comes home to a war zone. His mother's dead. Grove Street is shattered. But not everyone's gone. Sweet is still riding. And Big Smoke, he's still got that charm, that booming laugh, that brotherhood. Smoke makes it feel like maybe, just maybe, the family's still there. That even after everything, the Grove can rise again. He welcomes CJ back with open arms, daps him up, tells him it's all love. But behind the hugs, something's off. Smoke was never loyal. While CJ was grieving in Liberty City, Smoke was building something in secret. Deals with the Ballas, dirty money with Officer Tenpenny. He wasn't fighting to save Grove Street. He was monetizing its destruction. And worst of all, he was smiling through it. While CJ was breaking bread with him, Smoke was setting Sweet up to take the fall. Ryder was in on it too. Childhood friends turned Judas for a taste of empire. When CJ finally uncovers the truth, it's not just betrayal. It's the death of home. Smoke didn't sell out the hood because he hated it. He sold it out because he stopped believing it could win. Grove Street was loyalty, brotherhood, roots. But Smoke saw the system and thought, I'd rather rule the rot than die broke for honor. His betrayal is generational, not just a personal loss, but a funeral for what the hood used to stand for. When CJ confronts him in the crack fortress, surrounded by monitors and money, Smoke tells the truth. I got caught up in the money, the power. But the thing is, he chose it. When CJ kills Smoke, there's no satisfaction, no peace, just an echo of what could have been. Tenpenny burns in the wreckage, Smoke dies choking on his own dream, and CJ, he rebuilds Grove Street, brick by brick. But it'll never feel the same, not without Mama, not with the ghosts still sitting at the dinner table. Smoke sold out his block for power, but the next traitor, he didn't want power, just a paycheck, and his friends paid the price. He didn't kill Niko's squad in war. He sold them out for $1,000. Long before Liberty City, before Roman's cab company, before the chase for Dimitri, Nico Bellic was a soldier. He fought in a war no one talks about, where loyalty was everything, and betrayal got you killed. His unit was tight, brothers in arms. He trusted them with his life, and someone sold them out. Niko survived, barely, but over the years the question burned a hole in him. Who did it? And why? The answer didn't come until near the end of his journey, and it wasn't some powerful enemy. It was a friend, a nobody, a man named Darko Breivik. Darko didn't pull the trigger, he didn't plant the bomb. He just took the money. $1,000. That's all it took to get Niko's entire unit killed. They were your friends, Niko says. Darko doesn't argue, doesn't deny it. They had to die, he mutters. They were going to kill me. I had no choice. But he did have a choice, and now Niko has one too. Unlike most betrayals in GTA, this one doesn't end with a mission marker or a cinematic cutscene. This is personal, intimate, and for the first time, you, the player, are holding the gun. This isn't revenge anymore. It's judgment. Darko is broken, not defiant, not proud, just wreckage. And you're left to decide, is a life worth $1,000? Is death the only way to end a betrayal like this? Niko's whole journey is built on revenge, but this moment flips the script. Does revenge heal anything, or is Darko already dead on the inside? Whatever you choose, the war is finally over, but not the scars. Darko's betrayal was cold and invisible, the kind you only feel in your bones. But what happens when the betrayal comes with a gunshot to the chest? They pulled off the perfect heist, and then she pulled the trigger. Before Liberty City turned him into a ghost, Claude had everything lined up. A partner in crime, a plan, a clean escape. Catalina wasn't just his girlfriend. She was his shadow, his co-pilot, his ride or die. Together they robbed a bank like it was muscle memory. No panic, no chaos, just two pros doing what they do. The vault opened, the cash was theirs. And then, everything changed. Catalina turned. No hesitation, no warning. Just a gun raised and a bullet to the gut. Claude collapsed, bleeding out on the street. The money? Gone. Catalina vanished with the Colombian cartel. Her final words? Ice cold.
Sorry, babe. I'm an ambitious girl. You're just small time.
That single moment isn't just betrayal, it's transformation. Claude doesn't say a word from that point forward. Not in the cutscenes, not during missions. Because Catalina didn't just shoot him, she took his voice. What follows is a revenge story built in silence. Claude tears through the criminal underworld, not to build an empire, but to hunt a ghost. Catalina doesn't stop at betrayal. She escalates, murders allies, kidnaps Maria, sets up ambushes, tries to kill Claude again. But Claude, he keeps coming. The final chase takes them to a dam, a helicopter, and a final standoff. No words, just a bullet. And Catalina, the spark that lit the fire, finally falls. Not as a queen pin, but as a memory Claude was always going to erase. Catalina pulled the trigger and vanished, but the next betrayal didn't happen in a moment. It happened in slow motion, over 10 years of silence. Trevor held a gun to the cops. Michael held a plan. One of them walked out. The other was left in the snow. North Yankton, a small town, a big score, and a tight crew. Michael, Trevor, and Brad. They had years of jobs behind them. Brotherhood built on blood, chaos, and shared secrets. Michael was the brains, Trevor was the storm, and Brad had their backs. They trusted each other with everything, until the heist went sideways. Police swarmed the site. Trevor took a hostage. Michael took a deal. To save himself and his family, Michael faked his own death. He tipped off the feds, set up Brad to die in his place, and vanished into witness protection. One gunshot, one coffin, one lie that would sit frozen in the ground for nearly a decade. Trevor thought Michael was dead. He mourned him, spiraled, became unhinged. Meanwhile, Michael was living in Vinewood, sipping whiskey by the pool, until Trevor saw his face again, on TV. This betrayal isn't explosive. It's slow, rotten, suffocating. Because it wasn't just the betrayal of a friend, it was the betrayal of identity. Trevor built his entire world around loss and rage. And Michael let him do it, for a quiet life in the suburbs. When they reunite, it's not brotherhood, it's a detonation. Michael's lie is more than survival. It's ego, it's control, it's rewriting the past to pretend it didn't bleed. The real tragedy, Michael's betrayal creates the very world he was trying to escape. By faking his death, he didn't buy peace. He bought a second war. His actions ripple out. Brad's grave, Trevor's rage, and eventually, Franklin's choice. And in the end, Michael's lie doesn't save anyone. It just delays the fallout. Because in Los Santos, the past doesn't stay buried. It climbs out of the coffin. Michael's lie was about survival. But what if your partner betrays you just because he couldn't stand playing second? He helped you take the city, then handed it over for a bigger spotlight. Tommy Vercetti showed up in Vice City with nothing but a mission and a target on his back. The deal went bad. The money was gone. The heat was rising. But in the chaos, there was one man standing with him, Lance Vance. They had nothing in common except pain. Lance had lost his brother. Tommy had lost his shot. From that shared loss, an alliance was born. They took down Diaz, took the mansion, took control. It was a classic GTA rise to power. But one thing never changed. Tommy was the boss, and Lance couldn't take it. As Tommy expanded the empire, Lance got sloppy, reckless, impulsive, desperate for attention. He made deals without approval, took jobs he wasn't ready for. And when Tommy didn't give him more power, Lance went to someone who would. Sonny Forelli. Tommy's old boss, the man who sent him to Vice City in the first place. Lance gave him everything. Inside info, fake cash, and betrayal wrapped in a suit. When the ambush comes, it's not a surprise. It's just heartbreak with bullets. Lance didn't betray Tommy for money. He did it because he wanted to be seen. In a city full of neon and noise, Lance felt invisible. And Tommy, too focused on running the business, never saw the cracks forming. This betrayal isn't about greed. It's about ego. And in Vice City, ego is just another word for death. The final showdown happens on the rooftop of the mansion they built together. The same place they toasted their rise becomes the place one of them falls.
Knows how to do business. Isn't that right, Lance?
Sorry, Tommy, this is Vice City. This is business.
But Tommy doesn't see it that way. He sees betrayal where there should have been a brother, and when the smoke clears, Lance is gone. Not remembered as a king, but as the reason trust died in Vice City. Lance turned on Tommy for a shot at power, but the next betrayal, it's not about ego, it's about choice, one that makes you question everything you built. He taught you how to steal, how to lead, how to survive, and now they want you to put a bullet in him. Franklin Clinton started at the bottom. Repo jobs, small-time scams, and fake friends who stayed broke on purpose. Then came Michael DeSanta, a former legend living undercover in Los Santos, a man with connections, vision, and something Franklin never had, guidance. Michael saw himself in the kid. He taught Franklin how to move smarter, plan bigger, think like a leader. Over time, the mentorship became something more. Family. Michael opened doors no one else could. But behind one of those doors was a snake. Devin Weston, billionaire, manipulator, the kind of man who sees people as pieces. He offers Franklin a decision, not a deal. Kill Trevor, kill Michael, or be hunted by both. The logic is cold. Clean it up. Finish the story. Choose power over problems. If the player chooses Michael, the betrayal unfolds like a funeral. Franklin stalks the man who mentored him. Michael runs, not out of fear, but heartbreak.
I took you in, treated you like family.
And Franklin says nothing, just pulls the trigger. Michael falls, and everything Franklin gained goes with him. This betrayal is a mirror. Years earlier, Michael faked his death and sold out Trevor to save himself. Now he's the one left behind. Same city, same stakes. Same lie, flipped back on him. And if you choose to kill Trevor instead, the weight shifts, but the theme stays the same. In Los Santos, loyalty is disposable. You either become the monster or clean up after one. There's a third option. Franklin doesn't pull the trigger. Instead, he flips the script, takes down Devin, saves both mentors, and rewrites the ending. Not out of naivety, not out of weakness, but because somewhere under the blood, betrayal, and chaos, there's still a sliver of something real between these three. A broken family that chose not to self-destruct. In a game defined by choices, that one choice felt like freedom. Franklin was forced to choose between brothers, but in Liberty City, betrayal doesn't wait for permission. It just disappears with the money. One last job, a pile of cash, a car bomb, and your best friend in pieces, until he wasn't. Mike wasn't trying to be a kingpin, just a low-level hustler trying to claw his way out of Liberty City's gutter. His only plan? Escape the cycle. And the one person he trusted to do it with was Vinny. Longtime partner, ride or die, the guy who always said, one more score and we're out. And this time, it felt real. One last job, then freedom. But freedom in Liberty City always has a price. They load up the cash, make the calls, start the engine. And boom, the car explodes. Flames, metal, silence. Mike survives, Vinny doesn't. Or at least that's what everyone thinks. Suddenly the cops are hunting Mike. Gangs want him dead. Everyone thinks he set Vinny up. And through all the chaos, Mike holds on to one belief. Vinny died trying to protect their dream. But the truth is uglier than any lie. Vinny faked it. The explosion, the escape, the setup. All part of his plan to vanish with the money and leave Mike behind to burn. This isn't a betrayal for power. It's one born from cowardice. Vinny wasn't aiming to rule Liberty City. He just didn't want to die there. So he flipped the script, made Mike the fall guy, let him take the heat let him lose everything. For a bag of cash and a clean exit. In a city of backstabbers, Vinny's betrayal is the dirtiest kind. Not loud or brutal, but calculated, quiet, and devastatingly selfish. When Mike finds Vinny, there's no grand confrontation, no long speech, just a look. The realization that the one man he trusted set him up from the beginning. And Mike ends it the only way Liberty City ever taught him how. Not for revenge, not for the money, but for the lie. Vinny faked his own death to escape the game, but the next guy, he stayed in it and mastered betrayal like an art form. He said it was handled, he said it was over, and then he put a bullet in your future. Liberty City was chaos, but Niko found order in the familiar. Dmitry Raskolov, the quiet strategist, and Mikhail Faustin, the unhinged brute. Niko starts working for them, thinking he's climbing the ladder. But things spiral. Faustin goes too far. Dmitry sees an opening, tells Niko to take Faustin out. Clean house. A new start, a fresh chapter. One less psychopath in the game. But that's not what this was about. Niko kills Faustin, and Dmitry promises payment, peace, and partnership. He sets up a meet with a new contact, Ray Bulgarin. Says it's business. Says Niko can trust him. Then, ambush. It wasn't a deal. It was a setup. Dmitry sold Niko out the second he became inconvenient. And he doesn't stop there. He burns Roman's apartment, burns the cab depot, burns every piece of Niko's fresh start to the ground. And when Niko finally confronts him, Dmitry's not emotional. He's efficient. Unlike other betrayals in GTA, Dmitry's is ice cold. There's no guilt, no hesitation, no heat of the moment excuse. He does it for survival, and then he keeps doing it because it works. He's not just a traitor, he's the system itself. Always switching sides, always selling out the next man before they can sell him. Where Niko wants justice, Dmitry wants leverage. And he never stops calculating. Dmitry comes back. Even after surviving Niko's wrath once, he returns. Richer, more dangerous. And if Niko chooses the wrong deal at the end of the game, Dmitry betrays him again. At a wedding, with a bullet meant for someone else. One betrayal was business. The second, that was personal. And in GTA 4, Dmitry doesn't just burn bridges. He rigs them to explode when you try to cross. Dmitry stabbed everyone in his path. Friends, enemies, even ghosts. But what if betrayal didn't come from your rivals, but from the very people who made you who you are? He spent years proving his loyalty. When it was finally his turn, they tried to erase him. Toni Cipriani was a made man. He took orders. He took bullets. He took time away. After laying low for years, he returns to Liberty City, ready to climb back into the Leone crime family. At first, it feels like home. Salvatore Leone brings him back in, gives him muscle work, lets him earn trust all over again. But something's off. Every time Toni earns ground, someone else moves the finish line. The deeper Toni gets, the clearer it becomes. The Leone family never planned to lift him up. They planned to hold him in place. Keep him loyal, keep him useful, but never let him sit at the table. Why? Because they didn't trust him. And behind the scenes, a new player is pulling strings, Massimo Torini, a Sicilian outsider brought in under the guise of support but really sent to take over. While Toni bleeds for the Leones, Torini poisons the well, manipulates Salvatore, undermines Toni's moves, until the very family Toni lived for tries to cut him out. Toni's betrayal is institutional. It's not a knife in the back, it's a slow erasure of everything he's done. Not because he failed, but because legacy scares power. He was too loyal, too strong, too tied to the old ways, so the new regime wanted him gone. The Leones didn't just betray Toni, they betrayed their own roots. Toni doesn't just survive, he flips the script, exposes Torini, rebuilds trust with Salvatore. And when the smoke clears, he's not just part of the family, he's at the top of it. But the damage is done, because Toni didn't have to fight the streets to get here. He had to fight his own blood. In Grand Theft Auto, betrayal isn't a twist. It's a guarantee. The moment you trust someone, ride with them, bleed with them, built something real is the moment the countdown begins. From Catalina's bullet, to Smoke's smile, to Dimitri's cold ambition. Those weren't just betrayals of friendship. They were assassinations of identity. Every time you pull the trigger in this world, someone's pulling one behind your back. But maybe that's the point. GTA doesn't hand you loyalty. It dares you to survive without it. And if you do, you don't come out clean. You come out quieter, meaner. Just like Claude, you stop talking altogether. Michael thought he made it out. A mansion in Rockford Hills, a broken family starting to heal, and just enough therapy to pretend it was all working. But in GTA, there's no clean getaway, especially not for guys like Michael. In the mission The Time's Come, Franklin is ordered by Devin Weston to take Michael out. For good. If you choose to go through with it, Franklin lures Michael to the Paleto Bay power station under the lie of needing to talk. Michael shows up calm, reflective. He talks about progress, his family, the movie deal, the calm after the storm. But Franklin's quiet, and when Michael reads the silence, you little piece of shit. What follows is a desperate chase, up ladders, over scaffolding, through steel towers. Two criminals who once trusted each other, now climbing toward the final betrayal. At the top, it all comes down to one last prompt. Let go, or pull him up. But it doesn't matter. Michael dies either way. There's no saving him. He falls, no matter what you choose. And he knows exactly who sent him there. Developers originally planned something else. Helicopter blades. A messy, public death. The assets are still buried in the files, but Rockstar made a different call. Something quieter, more personal. They made you push him. And after that, Amanda disappears. Jimmy drifts. Lester keeps it business. No jokes, no jobs. Trevor never says her name again. No funeral, no headlines. Just a brief note in the game files. Gang-related. Michael didn't go down fighting. He went down betrayed, staring into the eyes of the last person he trusted, and realizing it was over. You don't just kill Trevor Philips. You hunt him, and you better hope you don't miss. In the mission Something Sensible, Franklin makes the coldest call of his life. At Devin Weston's urging, and with pressure from Michael, he chooses to cut loose the wild card, the man who never plays by the rules, Trevor. They meet at the edge of East Los Santos. Trevor pulls up, confused, casual, until Franklin hesitates. The moment shifts. Trevor knows, and the rage hits instantly. You Judas, you just like him. Trevor peels off in his truck, a storm of oil, dust, and betrayal. Franklin gives chase, and midway through the pursuit calls Michael. The same man who once left Trevor for dead in North Yankton now helps finish the job. Michael slams into Trevor at the oil fields. Gasoline pours out. Trevor stumbles, dazed, soaked in fuel. And then, Franklin pulls the trigger. The flame races up the gas trail like it's been waiting for this moment. Trevor doesn't scream. He just burns. Alive. The last thing you see is his body engulfed in fire, collapsing beside the wreckage of the truck that once carried all his chaos. Because even after everything, the torture, the murders, the madness, Trevor was part of the crew. A devil they knew. And now he's just smoke in the desert wind. You don't unlock anything. You don't get a celebration. You just lose a friend who never cared about rules, but might have cared about you. This is where GTA 4 breaks you. No matter what you choose, someone you love dies. The mission is called Deal or Revenge, but it doesn't feel like a choice. It feels like a setup. If you take the deal, you do it for Roman, for the dream, for the future he always talked about. And for once, things seem to go right. He finally marries Mallory. There's music, a ceremony, hope. And then, gunfire. A hitman sent by Dimitri crashes the wedding. Niko dodges the shot. Roman doesn't. He dies in your arms, the guy who believed in you when no one else did. The calls, the taxis, the jokes about bowling. All gone. And the worst part, he died happy, believing things were finally going to be okay. But if you choose revenge, you track down Dimitri and end him yourself. No more backstabbing, no more blood money. You go to the wedding with clean hands, but Kate doesn't make it out. Pegorino does the hit himself, a drive-by. 1 second she's beside you, the next, she's not. No famous last words, No dramatic slow-mo. Just blood on white silk. Niko just stares at the sky, silent. Roman tries to stay strong, but you hear it in his voice. He's breaking. 2 endings, 1 coffin. You can have family or love, but never both. In Liberty City, hope is the first thing to get gunned down. This one wasn't earned. It wasn't fair, and it still pisses people off. When GTA 5 opens, Trevor Philips is introduced through one of the coldest moments in the series. Johnny Klebitz, former president of the Lost MC, a playable protagonist. A survivor of war, betrayal, and loss, shows up to talk. He finds Trevor with Ashley, high and reckless. Johnny pleads. He wants answers. But Trevor doesn't argue. He just plants his boot into Johnny's skull and keeps going. The camera doesn't flinch. It lingers until there's nothing left. No fight, no mission, no warning. Just blood in the dirt and a legacy erased. Johnny was loyal. He stood by Ashley. He fought Billy Gray, the FIB, and everything Liberty City threw at him. But none of that matters in GTA 5. Rockstar used his death to show how dangerous Trevor was, and in doing so, they turned a biker king into roadkill. The Lost MC tries to fight back. They swarm Sandy Shores. But without Johnny, there's no plan, no center, just rage. And Trevor tears through all of it, like Johnny never mattered. Because to the story, he didn't. No funeral, no revenge, just a forgotten patch and a burned-out crew. Johnny Klebitz went out with no final words, no closure, no chance to be remembered. Unless you were there. Unless you played the Lost and Damned and knew the man before he became a message. Some betrayals build slowly, others are loud from the start. But this one, it was hiding in plain sight. Big Smoke, the loudest voice in the Grove, always talking about loyalty, always chasing something more. Ryder, CJ's childhood friend, cracking jokes, talking big, riding shotgun in the early missions, until suddenly, he wasn't. When CJ came back to Los Santos, Grove Street was falling apart. And Smoke? He said he was holding it down. But behind the scenes, he was selling it out. In the Green Saber, the truth hits. Smoke and Ryder aren't just dealing with the enemy. They are the enemy. They set up Sweet. They sell out Grove Street to the Ballas. And they climb the ranks with the help of Tenpenny and the LSPD. While CJ risks his life to rebuild the hood, Smoke builds an empire of crack palaces and corruption. And Ryder, he's right there with him. Laughing, lying, waiting to get paid. It all ends in End of the Line. CJ rolls through Smoke's fortified drug lab in a stolen SWAT truck. 3 floors of gangsters, traps, and betrayal. And at the top, Smoke. He doesn't beg. He brags. I got caught up in the money, the power. I didn't give a shit. Even as he's bleeding out, he still talks legacy. Still thinks the world will remember his name. Smoke falls, and Carl just stares at him. Damn, man, what a waste. And Ryder, he doesn't get a final speech, or a boss fight, just a drive-by near the docks, and a body floating in the bay. CJ never mentions him again. No funeral, no remorse. Because after everything Ryder said about loyalty, he flipped faster than anyone. Big Smoke and Ryder didn't just betray the Grove. They betrayed CJ, the one person still trying to keep the family together. And what did they get for it? A bullet, a headline, a legacy no one's proud of. In the end, Grove Street comes back, but it's never the same. Because once your brothers turn on you, you don't rebuild. You survive. You don't see it coming, but looking back, it was always there. Lance Vance, the smooth-talking brother with the red in furnace. The guy who helped you storm Diaz's mansion, who said, "We'll run this city together." For a while, you believed him. When Tommy arrives in Vice City, Lance is already on edge. His brother, Victor Vance, was gunned down in a drug deal gone bad. Lance wants revenge, wants power, wants everything fast. So when Tommy starts rising, Lance grabs the ride and refuses to let go. He jokes, he flashes that fake smile, but he skips meetings, shows up late, takes calls he won't explain. And after death row, after he gets kidnapped and tortured, he changes. By keep your friends close, it all breaks. Tommy's running the whole city. Lance isn't, and he hates it. So he flips, sells out Tommy, the vault, the mansion, everything. He doesn't sneak. He storms in through the front door. You took 15 years from me, Sonny, and now I'm going to make you pay. Gunfire erupts. Forelli's men pour in. Lance runs upstairs with bags of cash and a loaded rifle. Still smiling. Tommy chases him to the rooftop, rain crashing through the broken windows, the mansion on fire from the inside out. They meet face to face. No more fake laughs. No more brothers. Just blood. We were partners, Tommy. Tommy fires. Lance falls. Lance wanted power, but he never earned it, and when he tried to steal it, he lost everything. No redemption, no legacy, just a blood-stained rooftop and a partner who didn't flinch. Victor Vance wasn't supposed to die like this. He fought his way out of the gutter, built an empire from the sand, and tried to do it all for his brother. In Vice City stories, you are Victor, a soldier with principles, a man who didn't want to be a criminal, but became one anyway. He outwits drug lords, crushes gangs, and defies the military. He earns the city's respect, builds an empire, and by the end of the game, he finally sees a future. But 4 years before Vice City Stories was even released, Rockstar already killed him. If you boot up GTA Vice City, Victor Vance dies in the first 60 seconds. No intro, no backstory, just a botched drug deal on a rain-soaked dock. He's standing there, money in hand, doing the job. And then out of nowhere, bullets tear through him, and he's gone. To players in 2002, he was just a nameless casualty. To players in 2006, he was you. That hit differently. The man who survived the worst of Vice City didn't even make it out of the prologue in another game. No warning, no twist, just death from the sky and a story that ended before it began. And what's worse, nobody remembers. Tommy never says his name. Lance never mourns. The city moves on, and the player does too. Victor built a criminal empire for his family, and all it got him was a chalk outline in a city that never even remembered his name. You don't even know him yet, but when it happens, you'll never forget his face. Jay Norris, the smug CEO of Life Invader. A parody of tech bros, startup billionaires, and everything Rockstar loves to roast. He doesn't carry a gun. He doesn't start a war. He just walks onto a stage, smiling, hyped, untouchable, and answers the wrong phone call. You're playing as Michael, fresh out of retirement, and this is your first hit in years. No guns, no guards, just one explosive upgrade. Jay's giving his keynote, bragging about data collection, talking about innovation and connection. Hold on a second, I think someone's trying to dock with me. And then, boom. His head explodes on national TV. Blood sprays across the stage. The crowd screams. You just assassinated a tech giant with an app. Rockstar doesn't even play it serious. There's no mission debrief, no eulogy, just silence and satire. Jay Norris didn't die in a blaze of glory. He died as a joke, a punchline with a kill switch. But in GTA 5, that might be the coldest statement of all. This isn't a mission. It's a reckoning. Darko Breivik, a name that haunted Nico Bellic from the moment he stepped into Liberty City. He wasn't a kingpin, wasn't part of any crew. Just a rat. The one who sold out Nico's unit for $1,000. You learn the truth in That Special Someone. UL Paper finds Darko's location, and Roman, who usually begs for peace, says one thing. He betrayed you. He made you kill people. He ruined you. You fly him into Liberty City in a van, beat up, strung out, barely alive. And when the doors open, he begs. I needed the money. I had debts. But he's not sorry. Not really. And you can hear Niko breaking. I had a life. I had things. I had friends. I had love. And Darko took all of it. Then the game gives you a choice. Kill him or walk away. No bonuses, no consequences. Just a cold street and a broken past. If you pull the trigger, Darko slumps over. 7 bullets, 1 for each friend who died. If you let him live, he collapses, weeping, and disappears forever. But either way, Niko doesn't feel better. This wasn't justice. It wasn't revenge. It was just another ghost that wouldn't stay dead. Darko Breivik didn't go out with a fight. He didn't beg for redemption. He just rotted in the back of a van until the past caught up. Some deaths are loud. Others are confusing. But this one feels like a dream you can't wake up from. Dom Beasley is an adrenaline junkie. Skydives, bike races, base jumps into traffic. He's not suicidal. He thinks he's invincible. Franklin meets him mid-game. Dom talks fast, moves fast, lives like the ground isn't real. But in his final mission, something's off. Franklin gets led to a dam by a talking dog. Yeah, a dog. It guides you through the hills in silence until you find Dom, clinging to the edge of a dam, alone, grinning. It's perfectly safe, like last time. And then he jumps into shallow water, face first, and dies on impact. No slow-mo, no camera pan, just a splash and silence. Franklin walks up, staring at the broken body below. No mission complete sound, no reward, just confusion. Was any of it real? The dog? The vision? The stunt? Or did Franklin just watch a man unravel in real time? Dom died like he lived, untouchable in his mind and alone in reality. And GTA never explains it. It just moves on, like he was never there. Some died chasing power. Others died for nothing. But in GTA, nobody dies clean. They vanish in alleyways, burn in silence, fall without ceremony. And if you weren't there to see it, the city forgets. The game moves on, and all that's left is the body.